and Periscope, and DLive, Facebook, and shortly will be YouTube, or will it? What's up, everybody? I am James Hake. As you know, this is the Hake Report. It is Wednesday, 9:01 a.m. U.S. Pacific Daylight Time, September. November 18th, 2020. Tomorrow, the 19th, is the Women's Forum for Ladies Only. And tonight, or 4 p.m. late this afternoon, for our time, Los Angeles people or West Coast people, we are having the Bond Sunday service premiere. I tend to forget to announce that during Hake News, during the Jesse Lee Peterson show. The Bond Sunday service throwback premiere from March 7th, I believe, 2010. Very nice. But today on this show, I'm going to be touching on Dominion is not only in bed with the DHS, they allegedly have this VP guy, director guy, who allegedly holds shares in this Dominion voting systems company that people are saying this is switching votes, including credible people like the great lawyer, former prosecutor, author of Licensed to Lie about the DOJ and FBI corruption, sick people. This Trump lawyer, former Michael Flynn lawyer, I think she may still be a Michael Flynn lawyer. I don't know if he still needs one. I think he might. It's ridiculous. This stupid black liberal judges and corrupt anti-Trump judges, right? Anti-American judges. Sidney Powell, she even says that this Dominion voting systems company and also Smartmatic are, like, they helped, according to her, like I told you yesterday, helped Maduro win his elections over in Venezuela. And they were switching votes or pulling some type of shenanigans, according to her, for Joe Biden against Trump, and that Trump actually won. Well, this one guy who's associated with this company, and has been for years, been making headlines for years, Chris Coomer, Dr. Chris Coomer, caught right here in November hating Trump, and has been doing it for ages, and hating Trump supporters, and talking to Antifa and making promises, allegedly, that he promised, I'm going to make sure that Trump doesn't win. What the heck? Shady business. And also, I have some information about postal fraud. Some of this stuff is a few days old, or several days old, but it's just interesting and kind of shocking. Over in PA, Pennsylvania, at a post office, multiple Republican or conservative or pro-life, well, all three groups or candidates or whatever, have had their post office boxes sabotaged by this one post office, probably a liberal post office worker. Wouldn't put it past them, right? Think about the people that you run into at post offices. Some of them honest, even if they are liberal. If you can be an honest liberal. There's some liberals who have a little bit of a conscience. They're just brainwashed, right? But some of them are quite corrupt. They don't mind cheating. They call it by any means necessary, which is, or BAM, B-A-M-N. It's a commie tactic. You don't mind lying. It's kind of like kind of like in Islam, what I hear, right? Supposedly in Islam, you're allowed to lie in order to advance your cause or to stay alive or whatever, right? Same thing. Well, Islam, I'm told, according to Bill Lockwood, is communism or socialism in religious garb. And communism is socialism at the butt of a gun, says Pastor Bill Lockwood. But they're alleged fraud. And then they're trying to turn around and blame the people for supposedly not paying, even though they have receipts proving that they paid for their post office boxes and other stuff going on. Twitter is fake news. It is crazy how they're trying to force you to accept. This is President-elect Joe Biden, the fake news media, including AP, not just CNN and all those AP, enemies of the people. That's what I've been telling you. Trying to claim that Joe Biden is is president-elect. And they're calling, what's her name? Kamala Harris, vice president-elect. Ridiculous. Drudge is going on it too, jumping on it too. What a mess. I will be reading your super chats on streamlabs.com/The Hake Report and dlive.tv/The Hake Report. Thank you to Jesse Lee Peterson, hosting The Hake Report. I will be getting to your calls too. And I have some other information too. The rhinos were grandstanding against big tech, and I'm not impressed. Including even by Josh Hawley. I don't trust him. I don't like him. I mean, I like him, but I don't trust him. Ted Cruz, same thing. They're trying to say, they did gotcha questions, but they were kind of like missing the point, I think, with regard to Twitter and Facebook. The Senate, Judiciary Committee, I guess? Or some group, some committee in the Senate, I think. Is Josh Hawley a senator? I know that Ted Cruz is. They were interviewing Jack Dorsey and Mark Zuckerberg. Dorsey of Twitter, Zuckerberg of Facebook, sleazy companies. I think the companies may be sleazier than these men themselves, these males themselves. But these males are very sleazy too. Disgusting. I have a little bit of information on the COVID scare. Madness going on in California. I went for a walk yesterday, and practically everybody I saw had a mask on. And supposedly that's by force. It's ridiculous. It doesn't even make sense. Anyway, guys, let's get on with the show.
1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, it's the Hake Report. The Hake Report. La la la. Oh, it's the Hake Report. The Hake Report. La la la.
Hey, guys!
Oh, it's the Hake Report. The Hake Report. La la la. Oh, it's the Hake Report. The Hake Report. La la la.
So, how's it going, everybody? I think Ghost Murdoch asked the question. I wonder if Bill Barr, fan of the ladies. I wonder if Barr, Attorney General Barr, is preparing for something big or doing nothing. I don't know. That's a good question. I mean, I think probably nothing. I hadn't even thought of him because you can't really rely on that guy, I don't think. He's such a lame person. And watching that little slideshow at the beginning of this intro right now, I was reminded of something I mentioned in Hake News at the end of hour 1 of the Jesse Lee Peterson show today, and then I will get to calls. Michigan. Wayne County, Michigan. That is including Detroit area. Corrupt. Sick people. And it is so backwards. So, if you're not familiar, Wayne County, Michigan, there was a board, right? County Board of Canvassers. And they were you heard probably yesterday afternoon, my time, it was yesterday afternoon, that the Board of Canvassers were deadlocked 2-2, and they were not going to certify their results in the ballot results in their county, right? Their district, whatever you want to call it. And they had flip-flopped in the evening, late at night, just hours later, flip-flopped to a unanimous decision. Sounds like cowardice on the part of the Republicans because they also asked for Secretary of State Jocelyn Benson, which is a name I have no trust in, Jocelyn Benson of Michigan, to conduct an audit of irregularities in Wayne County. Why not just withhold certification? Right? There were discrepancies discovered in absentee ballot poll books, issues previously noted years prior to, and also in the summer primary. But November 2016 election, according to an outlet called Just the News. And however, during the meeting, black Democrat, and I have pictures of this guy, that's what reminded me of it, Jonathan Kinloch, an Obama fan. This guy, he is calling the pot black, and he's the kettle, and he's black. Here he is in his Twitter profile pic, shaking Barack Obama's hand, allegedly. What a weirdo. And he is a local grifter politician type of guy, I gather. Aren't they all? And he says he objected to the Republicans withholding their vote, saying, no, we don't want to vote to certify. And then before they caved, right? Cowards. One of them is a woman, white woman. He said, I smell politics at the core of this action. I smell the games. The smell is this guy. Ridiculous. Revolver News asked the question, and I mentioned this, did Republicans change their votes under duress? And Jack Posobiec, who is host of One American News Network, he's been pretty big on Twitter, pro-Trump guy generally, pretty objective. I think he has background in, like, I don't know, one of the government intelligence or something like that stuff. But he's out there. He's pretty, he's a pretty honest guy, I think. I think of him as being pretty honest. And Jack Posobiec tweeted, take note of what happened tonight. Republicans, 2 Republican officials in Michigan stood up to the machine, meaning the political Democrat machine, meaning like the overwhelming system of, oh, you have to certify this, pretend that Trump has no valid whatever, no valid complaint. So they tried to stand up, but they're weak. One of them is a white woman. And they're accusing her of corruption and shenanigans when it's them, I say. I'm speculating, but I'm pretty sure I'm right. Within minutes, they were, according to Jack Posobiec, but they call it Posobiec, I don't know. They were doxxed, threatened. CNN Politico, according to Jack Posobiec, labeled them racists and, you know, cowards. Cave to that type of intimidation and accusation, right? And he said, where does this behavior lead of these people, sleazy people? So CBS reporter Adam Brewster tweeted, breaking, the Wayne County Board of Canvassers has just unanimously voted to certify. Certify means like, okay, we count these ballots. These are the official and accepted and it's clean. It's kosher. Yeah, right. What about the audit that you want to happen? They called on the Michigan Secretary of State to conduct an audit of unexplained precincts in Wayne County that did not match. Jocelyn Benson woman, who I have no faith in her either. Real President Donald Trump quote tweeted that report and said, wrong. At first they voted against because there were more votes than people, he said. More votes than people, that's evidence of voter fraud. Then they were threatened, screamed at, viciously harassed, and forced to change their vote. Just imagine, you know how black Democrats are. Look at how Black Lives Matter are. They scream at people and try to intimidate. Same thing with these more dressed up in a suit black Democrats. And Democrats in general, they're sleazy scum of the earth. They were forced to change their vote, but then refused as American patriots to sign the documents. He said, 71% mess. I don't know what that's a reference to. Don't harass, said President Trump. So this woman, Monica Palmer, I have a picture of her, founder and president of Taxpayers for Grosse Point Schools. Gross has an E at the end. Grosse. Grosse Point has an E at the end too. Public schools. Schools. Which has anonymous donors. This lady. You really think she's tough enough to stand up to this kind of pressure from these sleazy people? I don't think so. What is she doing on this board? But nowadays it's common to find over-involved women who, even conservative women, that's nice that they want to help, but she didn't stand up to the pressure. And there's a male on the board who's Republican too who didn't stand up. He couldn't take the heat, apparently. But she had her organization, Taxpayers for Grosse Point Schools. Sounds like a decent organization. And they allow anonymous donors, which just makes sense. Imagine somebody finds out, oh, you donate to this or that. We're going to go after you in some way or another. That's what they do. That's what the social media mob does. They find your place of work or your advertisers or whatever, and they go after you and try to shut you down. Of course you have the right to anonymous donation for political stuff. Making it an unusually secretive political action committee. Why would you want to be secretive in Detroit? Because this is a hotly contested school board election this month, according to the Detroit Free Press article. This is a Detroit Free Press describing this. And they're on the side of the liberals, by the way. Probably anonymous because of intimidation, doxing, threats, false accusations of racism by pro-criminal blacks and liberals and Democrats and mainstream media. Scum of the earth. This Monica Palmer lady, she had an ethics complaint filed against her for that in October, accusing her of a conflict of interest in running a dark money PAC. Dark money because you want to protect your donors from harassment. To promote candidates to the Board of Education. Local. This is local politics. And called on her to step down from the board. And this is affecting the presidential election. And the Wayne County so-called ethics board, as if there's any ethics running Detroit. Democrat run forever. They barely elected a white mayor for the first time in, decades, didn't they? But he's a Democrat, too. And he's friends with the black guy who's accusing her of politics. The ethics board will meet today, Wednesday, to discuss the complaint against Palmer. So imagine, I wonder if she agreed to certify these things to cover her behind. Which is probably fake complaints against her anyways. Meanwhile, this black Democrat, who I have pictures of, I've shown you a couple of them, this 47-year-old Jonathan Kinloch, Kinloch, vice chairman of the Wayne County Board of Canvassers. He's the vice chairman of this group that so-called certified these results, is a fixture in Metro Detroit Democrat politics. He's grifted in several, I call it grifted, in several local government boards. Grifting means, you're just trying to rub elbows and play a pretend role, because Democrats are posers, especially these black Democrats. Posers. Pretenders. Phony. And he is considered an ally of white Democrat Detroit mayor. He's been on several local government boards. He's a power-hungry person. I've known people like this and families like this, even in El Monte, California. Scum of the earth. I mean, even some of them seem like nice people or whatever, but just power-hungry. What is it called when you ambitious? Ambitious is the word that I was looking for. Politics-minded, don't believe in the real God. Democrat so-called families and people. That's what this guy apparently is. He's considered an ally of the white Democrat Detroit mayor, Mike Duggan, or Dugan, D-U-G-G-A-N. Some 32-year-old sleazy-looking other guy, another former state senator, Ian Conyers, said, folks, just trust this black guy, Jonathan Kinloch. Yeah, right. And he's the one saying, I smell politics. He's the one who smells. What a sicko. So that's that guy. Detroit corruption. I have a picture of this Jonathan Kinloch guy with David Bullock, who's been on the Jesse Lee Peterson show multiple times. Another pretty phony guy. You see the pictures inside the Detroit corruption thing? This guy, oh yeah, you showed a few of them. You might have shown this one with David Bullock. He hosted a radio show for a while. Ridiculous. And this David Alexander Bullock guy who's been on the Jesse Lee Peterson show many times over the years. He's a nice guy. He plays Reverend and plays, I think he's on Al Sharpton's National Action Network, if I'm not mistaken. He's just local rabble-rouser guy crying racism at the drop of a hat. Phony person. He's nice, but these people are evil people. You really think that this lady, compared to them, is corrupt. That's what they're pretending. So that's what's going on over in Wayne County, Michigan. They said, we're not going to certify. Okay, fine, we'll certify. You scared us too much. Shameful. Weakness, huh? When you're weak, even if you so-called think that you're standing for what's right, you can get steamrolled and evil just wins. I've noticed. Anyway, Arizona lineman gave a diamond and said, Jake Hake, best dog to this day. Yeah, my dad had a dog named Jake. He was older than me.
To this day.
But he's not to this day, he's dead. Jake died. He was a black lab. He bit my finger once. I pointed in his face. And he would always run off. He would run to my grandmother's house or run back home from my grandmother's house. Crazy. He's a cool dog. My dad loved that dog. He would say, Jake, you want to go for a run? And even when it just said Jake, he would just start jumping around. Nice. I don't know how you knew that, Arizona lineman. I think I mentioned it. People call me Jake sometimes because it's James Hake. So people who've known me for years, sometimes when they email me or whatever, they'll say, hey, Jake. And they won't, I don't even think they mean to. Interesting, huh? More errors found in Georgia, too. There have been what they called, President Trump has repeatedly called it, and what's her name? Sidney Powell also called it a fake, a farce of a recount going on in Georgia. Well, they have turned up multiple whole thousands and hundreds in different places, different counties and different districts or whatever, of votes that are mostly for Trump. So Trump keeps on cutting away at Biden's so-called lead over in Georgia. Yet another error found in Georgia County, according to Revolver News and reporter Justin Gray of WSB-TV. Trump nets 449 extra votes in Biden's lead cut to under 13,000. A memory card was found during the audit. They're calling it an audit, but it's not an extensive audit. It's not really an investigation the way that Sidney Powell or President Trump want. Fox News reported 3,039 uncounted ballots, including the 2755 from Fayette County and 284 elsewhere, in addition to the 2,600 that you guys probably heard about yesterday or 2 days ago of uncounted ballots, 2/3 of which were for Trump as well. Interesting. But even that's not enough. It's not getting to the root issue of the dishonesty. And I agree with them. I think it's a farce to avoid a deeper look into things. And I have some interesting stuff to show you about Dominion. I have a lot of callers to get to. Hang tight, guys. I will be getting... Nick, get the phones. I will be getting to you. I wonder where Nick is. Maybe it just got deleted, some of this stuff. But I'm going to talk about this whistleblower guy. Oh, okay, thanks, Nick. There's just like shenanigans happening with our systems. Maybe the Dominion guy is in it. I'm going to touch on this Dominion guy, Dr. Eric Coomer. What a weirdo. What a sicko. But first, let me get to some calls. I don't know if it's all coming out, Ghost Murdoch. I don't know. I do like, before I get to Earl, I do like that President Trump is fighting and that there are a whole lot of people fighting for what's right. People are getting banned off of Twitter, whistleblowers, affidavit signer. There's this affidavit signer. He says that he signed an affidavit whistleblowing on Dominion, and he was kicked off of Twitter. His account was removed. I'm going to touch on that. I have a couple of clips to play to show you what this whistleblower, how this whistleblower talks. Just a little snippet of an interview with Michelle Malkin, who's been on the Jesse Lee Peterson show years ago, and some other mess. But first, let me get to Earl in Michigan. Earl, how are you doing?
Hola, buenos dias,
Hey,
Sir James.
thank you. Good morning to you.
Before I start, I'd like to give kudos to the Jesse Lee Peterson show and his research department that cited the poem by Rudolph Kipling, "If," the other day.
Yeah,
on the show.
it's a nice poem, huh?
Yeah, that's a very famous poem. One of my favorites. If it ends up in yours is the world and everything that's in it. And once is more, you'll be a man, my son.
Yeah.
Yeah. That if but that's probably. Well, go ahead.
Do you like the principles that Jesse talks about every day?
Well, explain what you mean by the principles.
Such as Jesse Lee Peterson always talks about forgive, know for yourself, tell the truth. Don't be, if you're afraid, you're a coward. Speak up, but don't resent.
Those are general good principles, but it's an expression and the way he deviates from it sometimes that I make issues with when he contradicts himself, and not just stating what's the good principles, but doing it. And when
so you practice those principles? You practice those principles?
Say what?
You practice those principles?
Of course.
Of course. What do you mean, of course?
Yeah, that's common sense principles, normal everyday life principles.
Right. But a lot of people don't.
But, yeah. Well, that's the way the world is.
Yeah.
You know.
I mean, I don't believe that any Democrat does those. They may think they do. I mean, maybe some of them do, but they're gonna they'll snap out of being a Democrat.
I don't know. That's probably your bias thinking. That's like if I said I don't think any white does it. I mean,
no, but white, being white. Hold on.
You make generalizations about folks and so forth and blanket whole groups of people that your biased opinion just naturally thinks that way. That's your worldview.
No, but Earl, that's a silly
lump
statement.
them all in, and so,
There's no comparison between being white and being Democrat. Being a Democrat is based on your false principles. Being white is just how I was born.
No, but you got white Democrats, Republicans, independents, others, none, apolitical, none. So people are people.
I know,
whether they belong to a particular, whether they espouse a particular party or something is besides the point.
I know, but a party is based on some type of principles.
Some of them are, but just like the Republican Party, they have a certain platform,
right?
But they deviated from it all the time. Every time they go the other way.
I know.
So just citing them because of the principles, so to speak, it doesn't speak to what the reality is.
Right. Very true. It's kind of like when they say feminism is about equality or Black Lives Matter is about valuing black life. stuff like that. They claim that, but in reality, it's kind of the opposite. Or
Well,
it has nothing to do with what they pretend to be about.
It's practiced at different points. In this society, black lives have mattered less and been valued less historically. That's just a fact.
By themselves. By themselves to this day.
No.
Yes.
By the white society. Initially, that's why from slavery and so forth, they had to fight and break barriers to get rights. Because
no, the whites fought for your rights.
Initially, they are deemed less than, and to fight for equal rights and to be looked at as any other American has been a lifelong fight since blacks have arrived in America.
I know, but so nowadays, that may be true. What you're claiming may be true.
It may be true. It is true. That's been cited through history.
Never mind that. Look at today.
That's not even a debate anymore.
Yeah, it is. But look at today. They're fighting to not be looked at as ordinary Americans. They're fighting to be looked at for special treatment as African Americans. They're phony. They don't want to be treated like everyday Americans. They want special treatment, and that's what they get too. It's a shame.
No, they don't. They wanted to be treated with the same things that the majority. When I say majority, that's white. That's a PC word for white. Majority population has been treated historically from the beginning. Excuse me, from the beginning.
Whatever.
And that's been
whites. It's Jim Crow against whites now.
No.
Yep.
Whites just see for the longest time.
Great song.
Never
Great
had
song.
to compete. They never had to compete.
Oh yeah, that's why they need
footing.
affirmative action. Okay. That's why blacks need affirmative action, because whites can't compete. It's ridiculous.
No, they had never had to compete in an equal level setting. And
that doesn't even make sense, Earl. That's communist propaganda that you fell for.
When you say affirmative action,
that's just
cite
envy.
A quote from Bob Law that whites have always had affirmative action. You know, so
no, I don't know.
Yes, they did.
No, I mean, whites founded the country. They did a pretty good job with it, and they ran the country. And sometimes they made mistakes, and some of those mistakes included kissing up to blacks and pretending that blacks are not perpetrators more than their victims.
I rest my case. You just made my argument for me.
Yeah, you made mine for me.
They were in charge. They made the rules.
Yep.
The white government and so forth.
Yep.
Has always been looking after white people from the beginning.
Not really.
That had to be included to get the rights that whites already had and aspired to.
They already now they have special rights over the whites.
No, they don't have special rights.
Yes, they do.
That's why they had to.
Yes, they do.
That's why blacks had to have voting rights. Legislation, because they didn't have.
No, those voting rights is a farce. The voting rights thing crap is a farce.
Didn't have to have voting rights. They already had it, except white women.
No, it was landowners, white male landowners.
Initially, white land.
That's when it was more. Landowners. That's when voters were more sane.
And then Jesse Peterson, I think he wants to go back to that.
He wants landowners.
Have the right to vote.
Yeah.
Which is insane.
No, it's not.
But
no, it's sane.
That's why people.
What's insane, Earl? It's so ridiculous for you to pretend that it's insane to go back to landowners only, because look at what we're getting right now. We're getting LGBTQIA madness going on. Those people are getting in charge, and they're instituting Jim Crow against Christians. And then you have blacks
whether you have a right to vote.
And then you have blacks and
whether you-
POCs lording it over the normal people.
If you live in an apartment, if you rent a trailer home, like some trailer people do, I won't call them anything else. But just because you don't own land, your rights you shouldn't count.
Right.
That's ridiculous.
No, it's not.
If you live in people that older folks that live in homes and rest homes and other things that don't own land and so forth, their rights should be obliterated.
And we should get rid of the
don't own
foreign
land,
landowners, too.
That's stupid.
Somebody raised Moses or El Moses raised the point that Chinese own a bunch of land in America, too. Yeah, that's not right. It's insanity that's running the country right now. It's say one thing and do another. Just like the Democrat Party, false values, complete false values.
I won't label that point.
Yeah, anyways, nice talking with you, Earl.
Your boy is going to lose. And you talked about...
Thank you, Fred, acknowledging that he has not lost. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Well, he hasn't been certified.
Right.
Officially.
Yep.
But he's lost.
No, you said gonna lose. That means he has not lost yet. Thank you. Thank you, Earl.
But,
good to hear from you, man.
I know you're holding on to dear life, pretending
That's all we have.
A way.
That's all we have. Just gotta fight. Gotta keep fighting.
Wayne County, and if
Earl, I gotta run. Let's talk another time.
All right, then.
Appreciate you. Take care.
Adios, amigos.
All right. It's funny how people can love these principles and stuff like that, but then they don't live them, and they don't want to look at themselves, and they want to say, "Oh, whites the problem." Shameful. Let me get to Nate in Pennsylvania. He says that reparations are likely to happen. I mean, can you really... Nate, how are you doing?
Hey, what's up, Hake?
Hey.
Hey. Actually, I was more asking. Like, yesterday I had posted a question in D Live, and you I said reparations, and you said, for whites?
Right. Yeah, because these blacks that are causing all these problems, instead of getting payments and settlements and stuff, they should be the one paying us or paying the communities that they're destroying or have a hand in destroying through raising thugs of sons and daughters who get themselves killed by cops or whatever. And then there are riots in their name and all that madness. They owe us. It's not the other way around. But
I mean,
yeah, go on.
Yeah, and I fully see that it's silly. I mean, it's just something that you could poke so many holes in. Again,
yeah.
Whose ancestors do we go back to? Like, if we find out that your white ancestors fought in the war for the North, shouldn't you get some fat reparations too if they died fighting for that? 600.
I heard that something like 650,000 or 600,000 Americans died in the Civil War, and no thank you from the blacks.
Yeah, surely
some of them thank us. Some of them are like, thank God and the white man for slavery, without which we would not be here today.
Yeah, but my question really was like, so if you look at or you have to kind of take them as true, which is ill-advised, but if you take the polling results as true, and you see the massive percentage of young voters, it's like, I don't know how much, but like over half of the people under the age of 40 voted for Biden, like something like 60% as what I found, but again, could be off.
Yeah, true. We don't know.
Again, the fear being in like 10, 15 years, these kids are going to be the ones who not only vote, but take office.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. And these lame people that you just mentioned, so-called kids, they are for this madness, like reparations and kissing up to black people and all that stuff. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. So I'm nervous that there will be some form. I mean, it would be hard to present, but I don't know. I'm nervous that eventually it'll just be cool to get on board with reparations without even thinking of the implications. Like,
right.
What about black people who came over here from Africa like 20 years ago? Do they get the same cut as the people whose ancestors came over?
It's a good
300
question.
years ago?
Don't be nervous about it. If it happens, it happens. We should fight against it and just call it what it is: insane, stupid, and counterproductive, and ridiculous, not based in any logic or common sense at all. But that's probably the least of our worries. They're doing all manner of evil, even right now. So just keep on fighting for what's right and just be sane about it, though, because some people have a tendency to flip out or jump to conclusions or get ahead of themselves and want to do like some type of revolution or whatever before time and all that stuff. People are not calm and reasoned, and that's another reason why I think the conservatives lose, because evil versus evil, the worst evil is going to win usually, right? But when it's evil versus good that's truly pure, then we can win, I think.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because a whole bunch of us are kind of for what's right, but we're weak and might as well be on their side because it's what effectively it happens anyways. You know what I mean? That's what I believe that a lot of rhinos are. Like, they started out so-called principled, but then the temptation and the pressure and all that stuff, they can't hang. You know what I mean?
You know what? I was talking with my little brother yesterday, and something we were saying is, again, I think the drinking age is ridiculous to be 21, whereas you can go into like the military and kill people at 18.
Yeah.
But I kind of feel like the liberals would be against this. But if you moved the voting age to 21 too, I mean, these kids need to get some experience of getting their income taxed and, just experiencing life instead of just going to college and they don't even file a tax return till they're 25 or something.
Right.
They've been voting forever.
You're so right. It is so ridiculous. They're keeping people immature until and then overgrown. They're keeping people free college for everyone, all that madness. And college is one of the worst brainwashing things you can do to yourself, because people you get this knowledge and you start spouting off like you know something when all you did was just learn something that somebody else said and it sounded nice and you're repeating it thinking that you're smart. And then you lord it over people who actually know what they're talking about and you call them ignorant. It happens all the time. And it's kind of like what Obamacare did too. Obamacare had men and women, grown adult men and women, until the age of 26 under their parents' coverage. Isn't that ridiculous?
Yeah,
it's keeping people... And you know what? They're having kids later. If they're having kids at all, they're not getting married. Divorce... Yeah, like I saw this headline on Drudge. I mentioned it. Divorces are going down, which is a total laugh. Because marriages are going down. People aren't getting married. And I watched Cernovich's birthday was, I think, yesterday, right? 43 years old. He has 2 children, and he only had those children in the last 5 years max. And he said, my only regret was not having kids earlier and having more. And he said that he knows other males who have this regret. And we all know about females, how feminism set them up to where, get an education, get your career, get all set up, make sure you have a home before you and move in together with your so-called boyfriend or girlfriend until you get married and start to have children. Be all set up because it's expensive. I've heard Vincent James, and I've mentioned this before, who's a independent journalist, conservative guy. He said that it's not that expensive to have kids. You can do it. But he's like a very enterprising, hardworking, smart guy. But people do it. People can do it. But it is a total setup from the culture to keep people younger and dumber and brainwashed as long as possible. It's ridiculous.
And the nominal achievements are outrageous. I mean, I have a couple degrees, and when I got them, when I got to the point where I got my master's, I was like, dude, this means absolutely nothing. Like, I had kids who were like 20 whatever getting this degree with me, and I'm like, this says absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
But you get to say master's, and so it's like, all right, I guess I'm somebody.
Right. And it is crazy the ego game that gets played on you, because like I felt the same way. I got a BA, right? A Bachelor of Arts, more like bogus speech. And you know, some people have respect for that. Like they'll say, is James in college? No, he has his degree. And I hear that, I overhear that, and the temptation is to get all proud of myself over something that I know was just a joke. It was ridiculous, and I'm not smarter for it. Going through life, you get experiences no matter what you're doing, and you learn some things. But this thing, it doesn't really mean anything, and actually, if anything, it set me up worse than had I just gone to work.
If you're taking the classes nowadays too, it's worse. Like I have a master's in accounting, and you'd think that I took a lot of accounting classes, but like I took a decent amount, but that you have like required like 100 hours plus of these classes that mean nothing. Like you have to take a gender study class, and like a body image class.
There is a guy who I'm about to talk about, Dr. Eric Coomer. He has a PhD in nuclear physics, and he is the scum of the earth. He is like in charge, a big guy over at Dominion voting systems. He got his degree over at UC Berkeley, and he majored in STEM, right? Science, technology, engineering, math, or whatever the acronym is. And you think, oh, that's useful, that's good, that's not subverted. Yes, it is. This guy is an evil person. He's Antifa. Yeah. Yeah. So you're so right. It's ridiculous. Even the STEM field and all that stuff, or accounting.
Yeah, I think the big problem is that maybe back in the day, these degrees would come, and then the people who would leave the college with the degrees in STEM or whatever, they've also been on their own as well. Yeah. But nowadays it's like, there's a lot of times they're still living with their parents. They're still dependent on everybody in every way. And then we get out of college, and it's like, now we're just starting to be on our own, but we've been voting since we were 18.
Yeah, I know. I was fresh out of high school, and I voted for W. Bush. Didn't know a thing, but I knew that, well, I mean, compared to Gore, I guess I did the right thing. I'm not really sure. I know that Gore is evil. But George W. Bush was evil too. Yeah.
And what makes me the most sad is when I mention something to somebody who's younger, and it'll be like something very obvious, like say reparations, and I'll mention like, the people who fought or whatever. And when I get the response, oh, I never thought of that way.
Right.
It's like, oh my God, but you've been voting, dude.
People really don't think for themselves. And then they laugh off guys who do think for themselves, like Jesse Peterson or Donald Trump, who don't necessarily go along with whatever the Republicans are saying. Like Earl pointed out, and Earl was right about this, even though he's wrong about the Democrats. He said that Republicans don't adhere to the values that they claim to hold. And that's so true. Most Republicans are total phonies. And so thinking for yourself, you may say something that sounds off the wall, but when people stop and think, they realize you're right sometimes. And that's what I like about independent-minded people who, like President Trump, and I think he's always kind of been this way, and Jesse Peterson. That's cool.
Yeah, but by definition, if you're going to be different and you're going to be a thinker, like you're going to be in the minority and you're going to be hated. But the good news is, I mean, even if we believe the liberal numbers that they're giving us, I mean, 70 million people voted for Trump. And that's not nobody.
I know. Yeah, very true.
All right.
Thank you, Nate. It's good to hear from you. And thank you for the super chats questions. You got me off on a tangent the other day when you asked about the reparations thing. That was cool.
Yeah, no sweat. And the Ninjet offer for Earl is now 50.
Okay, dang.
See you, man.
Appreciate that. That's cool. Yeah. Okay. I mean, I got a good. Anyway. Okay, let me get to Rick in Hampton, Virginia. He wants to talk about the voter fraud thing. I have Carl on the line too from Tennessee, and I am gonna show you this clip of this Joel Oltmann guy who's talking about this Dr. Eric Coomer guy. And I also have evidence of this shenanigans at the post office in PA, which should not be surprising to anybody. But first, Rick in Hampton, Virginia, how are you doing?
Man, my brother James, love you, brother. Good job, man. You're getting real popular, man. Everybody's listening to your show, man.
Yeah, it's fun. It's cool, huh?
Yeah, because it was almost hard to get through now, man.
Yeah.
I just wanted to share the good news with you.
What's that?
That was that everybody's listening to the show now. You know, so when it's hard to get on, I mean.
I thought you were talking about good news about. I thought you were talking about good news of voter fraud being exposed.
Oh yeah, that too. And now, matter of fact, I think hey, President Trump got a smoking gun, man. I think when it's over with, he's gonna have some evidence that's gonna be so almost if you can't see it, man, you just blind.
Well, in all honesty, that happens pretty much every day. Stuff that's so obvious, and people are just blind, including the mainstream media. To this day, they're talking about Kyle Rittenhouse as if he's a white supremacist and a murderer.
To this day.
Ridiculous. Kyle Rittenhouse, hero.
And it's amazing how I know when it comes to blacks, if they'll hear from CNN, cable nonsense news, they won't believe it. They won't research anything for themselves.
Yeah, it's silly.
You know, and that's really sad.
Yep. Yeah, and I think people aren't really open to the truth, even when it's right in front of their faces. Even if they listen to the Jesse Lee Peterson show every day and they're still blind. There's tons of those people.
Sometimes I just think, man, the way blacks do when it comes to politics, they don't research the candidate. They vote them in over and over.
Yeah.
And the city can look like slums, and they just sit voting them in over and over and over.
Yeah.
That's why I tell people I'm not for term limits. I say if people want some ineffective, do-nothing politicians to run their districts, let them have it.
Yeah.
Well, I look at it, like they say, well, you get some new, fresh face. I say, yeah, that's true. But if they want these ineffective politicians and they stay in what they call it, government affordable housing, think that's a great deal, so be it. Them kind of politicians, they like them.
Yeah. And then there's like black conservatives, so-called, who turn around and blame the Republicans, and there's a little bit of blame to give to them but they want money and support from the mainstream Republican Party, right? Oh, there's no support for these local politicians who want to run. It doesn't take a lot of money to run a successful campaign if you do it right, especially in the local politics. You can pull stunts if they're wise and smart and well thought out. You can pull a stunt with not too much money and get some play. And they just want to play. They just continue to play victim and blame Republicans and blame whites, even for no Democrats running in some of these Democrat-run cities. When it's like, be a leader yourself.
You know what? It's a whole thing that would kill black. They just act like victims, all the time.
Even as Republicans, many of them continue to play victims. It's ridiculous.
I'm just like, hey, man, give me an opportunity. I'm going to use my love for people, my hard work to get me where I need to be to prosper. That's what I'm going to use.
Yeah.
That's all I have. I mean, I need to hire, affirmative action. Most blacks are the only group of people to me that always looks for assistance from the government, some type of assistance.
They commonly do that.
Other races don't.
Yeah.
Yes. like we need the government to do this, we need the government to do it. Other races come in, all they want to do is, look, can I stay here? Then I do the rest.
Right.
You know? And
it's crazy, though, too, because I see a whole bunch of immigrants who come in here, and they're like, they come in here and make me look stupid. Just like working hard, and sometimes it's not exactly honest with the stuff that they do. But some of these people are very enterprising. They look for opportunities and jump at opportunities, and they really making bank. Look at I don't know. There's people even all over the country just making it happen.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
They just go and and just go do it, man. Just like let's say the Koreans, they come in here and they sell a lot of black hair products, and the blacks get mad because they come in here making money. I said, they ain't doing but supplying the demand. That's all they doing.
Yeah.
That's all they doing. They come in here and work long hours to supply demand to what the black community wants. Hair products and anything that has something to do with clothes. They just come supply it.
Yeah.
Well, how come we can't get businesses? Well, because most times when blacks go apply for business loans, they say they need the money in the name of Jesus. They ain't got no collateral.
Yeah.
They're not in position to get a business loan. Because I have learned, I don't care what color you are, as long as you got the money, people will work with you.
Right.
I have seen that.
But people don't even necessarily need the loans. Work with what you have. Anyway, I appreciate it, Rick. It's good to hear from you.
Yes, you too. What you gonna have with President Trump though? You think you got a big bomb to drop?
Well, we'll see, because there's continuously, it seems like, new evidence is coming out, and these people are a bunch of blind, brainwashed liberals, including in the CISA or CISA, which is part of the DHS. Trump fired a guy, and that guy is a dumb liberal. He's like a Trump hater, or not like a Trump hater. He is a Trump hater, and Trump fired him because he came out with this thing, this statement saying the election was the most secure in history, even though his department or his council is in bed with this Dominion group that is involved in it, and they're just covering their own butts. Anyway, Rick, I gotta run. Take care, man. Appreciate you. Oh, man. I don't know what all that noise was. But thank you for the call, Rick. It's good to hear from you, man. I gotta take a quick break. We're coming up at the top of the second hour, right, of the Hake Report. Tony in California says it's time to admit Trump lost. Zack in Oregon proposes limitations to the First Amendment. Interesting. Maybe. I mean, with pornography, yes. With these sleazy, libelous, I was going to say scandalous, slanderous mainstream media outlets pretending that Joe Biden is the president-elect, that's a lie. That's malpractice. That's media malpractice. It's not reality yet. Trying to usher reality in before it happens. Trying to alter reality. Carl in Tennessee wants to talk about the Wayne County certifying the votes, which I mentioned earlier with that black dude and the white woman and mess. And I gotta play these clips for you. So hang tight, everybody. I'll be right back for hour 2. All right? So hang tight.
But I've been here many times. make the rules. There's nothing wrong with us if we don't have to lose. No need to recognize an apology. When you're not one of us, and that's how it's meant to be. Come out, where are you hiding out? I got something to say to you that I don't know about. Come out, where are you hiding out? I got something to say to you, but I don't know how.
There's the squirrel. Peter from Periscope gave a diamond and said, at least Jake Hake wasn't a pit bull. That's right, he was a black lab. Pit bulls are for degenerates. Or no. They're for Mexicans and blacks. The previous place that I lived, there was a pit bull boxer mix. He looked cool. He was a cool dog. And they neutered the poor dude, the poor dog, and so he was not as aggressive. Sorry. Arizona lineman gave a diamond and said, ask Earl if he's the night shift dog catcher. He's trying to catch Jake. And let me just double check the streamlabs.com/the Hake Report. Bonus deers, says Jib Jab. Between Gore and Bush, which one was the lesser evils, in your opinion? I have to say W. Bush. Between Gore and Bush. But maybe that's just my blindness talking. Gore was outright evil, plain evil. He was Bill Clinton's vice president, Bill Clinton the liar, who was run by Hillary Clinton, I hear, except for when he was running around, according to the reports. And Gore was and is an evil person. He's pushing that climate change madness. But then Bush, total globalist, right? A Trump hater, which means he hates America. He hates the American people. And he was a simp. Yeah. He said, according to what I've heard other radio hosts say, because I wasn't really paying attention back then, he said that his wife saved him. Something like that. Because he used to be an alcoholic. Reminds me of, well, I don't want to talk mess. I don't want to talk too much trash about Glenn Beck, who I think also said that he used to be an alcoholic. But these ex-alcoholics are a bunch of big, soft, weak teddy bears. George W. Bush, have you seen him cozying and snuggling up next to Obama's wife, Michelle? It looks disgusting. You can Google that. George W. Bush, Michelle Obama, snuggling. I don't know if snuggling is the right word, but they're like holding hands and he's like making a fool of himself, kissing up to her. It's like, what? And she's a liar. She hates America. And as I said, if he hates Trump, he hates America too. Weak. And that's Texas. Texas produced the Bushes. Shameful. Joelle Friday has shown some of those pictures in the past. I think on my show. It's just awful. But anyway, oh man. Okay. So thank you to Jib Jab. I don't know which one was worse. I want to say George W. Bush was less evil, but can you, I don't know. I mean, you're supposed to not vote for evil. Look at that. She's like hugging him and he's like leaning back into her like she's his nanny. What are they doing? They're like, he's clapping and she has his hand around his hand if you're listening to the audio podcast. And he's like a overgrown little boy. And she's younger than him. Look at that. What? And she's younger than him, by the way. And you know she doesn't respect this man. How can you respect a guy who leans it? What? Is this like a funeral or something like that? Where he's like, because they look happy, but that's weird. That's George W. Bush. So, and Al Gore's flying around the world pretending like this climate change. We need globalist socialism to combat climate change. And by the way, I invented the internet. He said something like that. Nasty. Funeral for America. Yeah, I mean, there's pictures of all these people being chummy. And guess what the one common denominator is of many? They all hate Trump. They all rejected President Trump. Scum of the earth. You know, before I get to Tony, let me just tell you about this. I may even drag a picture of this judge guy into the folder for you guys. There's this judge, Nicholas Garaufis, right? And I've talked about him in Hake News. I might have touched on it here. Nicholas Garaufis. I have a picture of him from, I don't know, it was posted in 2019 on an article. And in this article, it's a Clinton judge, Bill Clinton appointed judge in New York, around, somewhere in New York, I think. But this judge said that, who's the guy who's in charge of acting DHS secretary? And not a fan of this guy, Chad Wolf. I don't think he's good. But he tried to do something right in putting a pause on DACA. DACA is the illegal, it was commonly cited as the illegal, unconstitutional executive order by Barack Obama giving amnesty, effective amnesty, temporary amnesty anyway, for illegal alien so-called young children, right? But they're not children, they're young people. And they're people like my age, not exactly young. And this judge says, well, Chad Wolf, you were not legally the acting DHS secretary. You weren't approved by Congress or whatever, because he's still, to this day, he hasn't been confirmed by the Senate or Congress or whatever.
To this day!
Because Trump, they don't want to work with President Trump. They'll get the judges in, but not Trump's cabinet. I think that's Mitch McConnell, but I don't want to place all the blame on Mitch McConnell. He's a rhino, but... So Chad Wolf tried to put a pause on DACA, which is letting illegals stay here and work and have babies, anchor babies that become so-called American citizens and then grow up to vote and subvert the country even more. And then your American children grow up with them and then feel sorry for their illegal alien parents. So you say, yeah, let them be, because people are weak and they bend the rules for their friends. They say, oh, let the gays run wild because I know some gay friends. Oh, let the illegals run wild. I know some illegal friends. These people, you've been to their homes. It's heartbreaking that you say they should go back. I'm reciting friends of mine who've, been mad at me on Facebook for saying the illegals should be sent back because some of them are illegals or their parents were or are. But this guy, Chad Wolf, this judge, Nicholas Garaufis, did you post the picture of Nicholas Garaufis? I refreshed the folder if you didn't. This is a Clinton judge, and he looks a lot like Clinton. Greek, liberal, not the good kind of, not the based kind of Greek, like Poseidon and that guy, the 17-year-old young man who's called my show and Jesse's show. No, this guy, he reacted to some maybe deranged Trump supporter, because there are a few, right? There are. Some deranged Trump supporter allegedly threatened, or maybe was convicted for threatening the life of a senator or some Democrat official, right? This guy said, well, there is, what is that word? Incivility from the president on down. That was the headline from this guy, this so-called judge, last year. So he's condemning President Trump for having incivility. I haven't seen one inkling of incivility from President Trump. He's been right. He's been quite appropriate. in fighting evil and also fighting Ted Cruz. I remember one time he posted a picture, a beautiful glamour picture of his wife being beautiful, and then an ugly picture with an ugly face of, just catching Ted Cruz's wife in a bad moment. Just having an ugly face. And he posted that on his Twitter. And, Ted Cruz didn't want to forgive him, so he didn't want to endorse him for president, and just being a lame simp kiss up to his wife rather than for the country. And seeing the wisdom and power of President Trump and standing on the truth and being a genuine person rather than a phony politician like Ted Cruz. But, you could even say, oh, that's not nice. But it's right. He's in a fight for America. He's been fighting for America ever since June of 2015, or maybe longer than that. But that's when he announced. And he didn't back down from his true statements about, what Mexico is sending. And to this day, he's standing for what's right. He didn't back down from the true statements about Charlottesville, and they're attacking and lying about him. Joe Biden lying, basing his whole campaign on a lie, that Trump was defending the right of people to defend the Confederate monuments. It's ridiculous. It's about free speech. And so Trump loves America, they hate America. And this fake judge accused him last year, in 2019, of incivility from the president on down. That's lame. Why do you even bring the president into it? It's stupid. Blame the guy for being insane and threatening a Democrat. You don't threaten people. But it's ridiculous. So that guy, that same judge, said, oh, you can't get rid of DACA. You weren't even rightfully the... Never mind that Obama had no right to institute DACA in the first place. Now the Supreme Court and these people aren't even letting them take it away. Ridiculous. Anyway, quickly let me get to Carl in Tennessee. He's been patiently on hold for some time now. Carl, how are you doing?
I'm doing well, man. How about you?
I'm doing fine too. Thank you for the follow-up email. I still have to read that information that you sent me.
Yeah, just, be warned, it's very dark material, and like I told you in the email, I do apologize for citing people on your broadcast like that. That was not my intention. I wasn't sure how you felt, and I should have asked first, so I do apologize for that.
I appreciate that, man.
Okay, well, just one quick observation before I talk about Ned, this guy who calls himself Ned Black Lives Matter Stabler. That's his Twitter handle. Yesterday, listening to the broadcast, I couldn't help but overhear an individual, and I don't remember his name, but obviously he was a liberal who voted for Biden, I feel safe in saying. And you and him were sort of yelling back and forth, and he had the nerve to tell you that he would not be told by another individual what he could think or say. And I just wonder about these people. Do they not realize who they're voting for? If they really believed in their rights of not having someone tell them what they can think and what they can say, why are they voting for these evil communists like Joe Biden?
That's a very good point. And Joe Biden is a total commie. He wants to I heard that he wants to crack down on free speech. He's certainly not defending free speech when all these people are getting shut down left and right on Twitter and Facebook and all that. At least Trump is tweeting a little bit about it, even if he isn't doing as much as people wish that he would. But Joe Biden is not even pretending. He's for this madness. He's calling people racist for standing for the country. It's evil. So good point.
And they have the 3 red banners in their logo.
Right. I looked that up. The 3 red banners are the Chinese Communist Party. He mentioned it.
Yeah.
And they, Snopes is saying, well, it's a conspiracy in the eye of the beholder. But just look at his actions. His actions confirm that he is pro-commie, whatever the case with the logo is. And I don't know. I don't really necessarily care about the symbolism, because look at the actions and look at the overflow of his heart. Right, his words are so phony. He's such a phony person. Total commie.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, I know some of your listeners, just by looking at the comment thread in the chat from time to time, I know that people have labeled me a conspiracy theorist, and that's completely fine. But if you take, I mean, maybe you've heard about this before, and then I'll get to Ned Black Lives Matter Stabler. If you take 666, which is the mark of the beast, and divide it by 2020, which is the year that we're in, you get Biden's campaign number on that logo, 03033, which is very occultic, to say the least. I mean, so it's
man,
all
you're really
in
into
logo,
this
man.
stuff.
I'm in.
You're confirming
you're
confirming the chat.
Right. Well, I mean, just for the sake of people understanding where I'm coming from, the Lord God saved me from sin and death and called me to faith in Jesus Christ about 6 years ago, and He saved me out of a wicked lifestyle. And so, whenever I see the symbolism, because I'm already familiar with it, it just leaps out at me. I know it when I see it, by the grace of God. Okay. So Ned Stabler, he calls himself Ned Black Lives Matter Stabler. If you look at his Twitter handle, So
I'm looking him up now.
Okay, look it up, dude. This is crazy. So this guy.
He's a board member.
Yeah.
He's a Wayne. I'm interrupting him because it's shocking. Just so people aren't lost. This Rex Chapman tweeted, and Rex Chapman is a dumb black liberal guy on Twitter. He tweeted, "Please watch Ned Stabler, Staebler, a Wayne County board member of the Canvassers," and that's part of that. Oh, we played part of his video on JLP show. Him harassing. Oh, he was harassing the. Yeah. Was he? Is he a member or is he not? Is he a member of the Wayne County Board of Canvassers?
I'm not absolutely sure about that aspect of it. But I know that I sent you an email of his harassment of these officials that had refused to certify in Wayne County. And what he did was he released this, video on YouTube and on Twitter and, other social media, just doxing these people, man. He's giving out there. And look, he's not the only one that did it. Right. These other evil, liberal, communist, baby murdering, I'll just stop there.
He's being called.
We're doing it as well.
He's being called a tech town CEO, a Michigan businessman.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now,
but
this guy,
he's an evil person.
And he just totally doxed these people, gave their names out, and said that they would forever be remembered as racist because they're trying to keep the black people's vote down in Wayne County. That's all these people have is these type of evil tactics. Then this coward and this liar went on to tell these two people in this video, after he mentioned their names multiple times, putting their lives and their livelihood in danger, that they were in danger of hellfire. Now, you're talking about an individual, and I have to calm down because I'm starting to get fired up. You're talking about an individual here in Ned Black Lives Matter Stabler who has sided with Black Lives Matter and its witchcraft. I have called into the JLP show before months ago and talked about how Black Lives Matter was founded by 3 witches, Patrice Cullors, Alicia Garza, and Opal Tometi. It is founded upon Ifa, which is a religion from West Africa. It's divination. So when they say her name, hashtag say her name, and they chant Breonna Taylor, they're invoking the spirits of the dead into the protest to send them out to cause chaos. They say this out of their own mouths. So you have an individual scolding somebody about hellfire who has aligned himself with witchcraft and supports the murder of the unborn and homosexuality. That's the type of wickedness and hypocrisy that we're dealing with, and it's absolutely disgusting.
Yeah. Good point, man. That is interesting. Ned Stabler. What a creep. I appreciate the tip, Carl. It's good to hear from you, man.
Yeah, man. Take care.
You as well. Wow. But they shouldn't cave. These stupid Republicans should not cave. But, I mean, one of them is a white female. Before I get to Tony and Zack and Nick and the rest of you guys, let me just play. Well, I already covered the Detroit corruption mess. But let me play something I falsely called Detroit. Clip 11. I said it was from Detroit, USPS, but it's actually PA, Pennsylvania, U.S. Postal Service, where blacks also are, right? And dishonest Democrats in general. This guy's a dishonest Democrat. He's not black, I don't think. But he doesn't look right, this Ned Stabler guy. But I came across this clip from a woman who became sort of a Republican, Olivia Rondeau. Oh, man. Rondeau. Olivia. She's like part black, I think. She looks mixed to me. She's a wrestler, probably pretty young. Became sort of Republican or something like that, or I don't know. She might, I don't know. I don't want to speculate too much about her, but she helped the campaign of a local campaign candidate, Republican candidate for office. And this Republican candidate discovered that her mail was being sabotaged because she wasn't receiving mail. She was sending out mailers and not getting any back. You know how when you send out a whole bunch of mailers, you're going to get some back because change of address or whatever. They didn't get anything back. And they weren't getting mail. They weren't getting questionnaires from the NRA to fill out and say where she stands on such and such issues. So she didn't get endorsed by places and stuff like that. And it wasn't just her. It was also the Monroe, which is, I guess that's Pennsylvania, Monroe, Pennsylvania GOP. It's a whole Republican club. And the Pro-Life Pregnancy Center, according to this Olivia Rondeau. She put out this YouTube video November 6th about this situation. And the U.S. Postal Service, which we're told, very robust, very trustworthy, very very objective. Well, I have a clip, 11. It's about 3.5 minutes long, all right? And she apparently took a phone and video recorded the TV screen so that the audio is going to be kind of tinny, but listen closely to it because they're sabotaging Republicans at the post office. I say they, maybe one person. But imagine, I've told you about this guy that took 800 pieces of people's mail, including 3 ballots, this black guy, 27 years old, in his trunk and then lied about it to the Border Patrol, saying, that's my mother and my mail. Liar, black guy. Imagine, of course people are going to cheat. It's wide open to cheating. Listen to this clip. I got it from Olivia Rondeau, and it's from her video, Pennsylvania GOP's mail is being sabotaged, and she has proof. This is a clip from local news in this Pennsylvania town. Listen to this.
Tonight with the Monroe County candidate launching an investigation into possible postal fraud. This is the Pocono Report. I'm George Roberts. Dulce Ritter, who's running for state representative of the 115th Legislative District, hasn't received any mail at her Stroudsburg post office box. She tells us donations have been returned to sender. Her campaign has also discovered the Monroe County Republican Committee is dealing with what they're calling a compromised post office box. News 13's Nicole Walters joins us from the Stroudsburg post office with more. Nicole?
George, the P.O. boxes are located at this post office. A spokesperson tells us they are aware of Ritter's issue and it has been corrected. But we're told issues with mail during an election happen all too frequently here.
I have great respect for the postal workers, and this might be just one individual that's ruining it for everybody, but I'm speaking out because I don't want this to ever happen to anyone again. This is election interference.
Candidate Dulce Ritter for the 115th Legislative District has already filed a complaint with the Postmaster Attorney General and has contacted local postal investigators. She opened a P.O. box at the Stroudsburg Post Office on March 4th for her campaign, but didn't receive any mail. Then she didn't receive any returns after sending out a mass mailer in September. But she wasn't aware there was a problem until a friend notified her he sent a money order to her P.O. box and it was returned to him.
I sent it to her the 1st of October. It was a $100 money order. And then I got it back around the 17th of October. And it was stated as if the post office box was non-existent or inactive.
Ritter was told by the postal supervisor that there was a cardboard over her P.O. box slot.
That meant that it was either abandoned or it wasn't paid. Now, I paid it a year in advance. I never received any notification that there was an issue with my P.O. box. I never received a note inside my P.O. box because my key was always working.
Ritter has no way of knowing how many mailers and contributions she did not receive because she was told the post office cannot track P.O. boxes.
I was just wondering how many letters she didn't get, you know. And, you know, the way things are, this short time on an election, it's all, you know, crucial.
A spokesperson for the post office sent us this statement in part. The issue was corrected, and we have spoken with Ms. Ritter. Right. We regret any concern caused to our customer. At first, Ritter accepted the apology as an oversight, but then she learned of numerous other candidates having the same type of issues over the years. And the Monroe County Republican Committee also had a compromised P.O. box this election.
There was nothing they can do about it, not even give credit for the 1 month that we had lost of not getting any mail. They said they didn't understand, but our name was not put on a list. The Monroe County Republican Committee name was not put on their list, so that mail would go into the box.
That's why Ritter is moving forward with the investigation and would like anyone who has had an issue with the Stroudsburg Post Office to contact her.
If it's brought out in an investigation that anyone in the post office did not handle themselves properly and they interfered with elections, that is a criminal federal offense and they need to be taken to task for it.
It's crazy, huh? It's ridiculous. Stroudsburg, Stroudsburg, Stroudsburg in Monroe County, PA. And just imagine, this lady tweeted, Olivia Rondo, whose channel this appears on, said, PA GOP state rep candidate, sabotage mail. That's that Ritter woman, so whatever. Monroe, PA GOP, sabotage mail. Pro-life pregnancy center, not mentioned in this news report. Sabotaged mail. And they said over the years it's been happening. No donations, lobby group endorsements, or outgoing mail. If it's happening here, she says, it's happening everywhere. And just imagine, of course. And there's all types of shenanigans that they can pull. And it was covered in Fox 56. In Fox 56, the guy who, there's the lady who did that. Fox 56, the guy who reported it, local news over there, said that the post office claimed that she hadn't paid. Liars. They even showed the receipt of paid through March of 2021. Liars. And they're using postal investigators. If they're anything like that postal investigator who investigated that, who went and interviewed that Richard guy, what's that Richard guy's last name? The whistleblower who said that, I think he was in PA as well, said that he heard his supervisor or somebody, some postmaster guy, say, backdate those ballots to support, you know, to make it seem like they came on time when they didn't. Backdate the ballots. And he was intimidated by a so-called postal investigator. And they tried to make him change his story. They went back behind his back and claimed that he recanted his affidavit, which is a sworn statement. And then he goes on Project Veritas and says, I did not recant. I did not change my story. I did not lie. This Richard, I'm blanking on the guy's name. And there was a female from another state or maybe the same state who also whistleblew and heard the same thing about backdating the ballots. And people say, oh, what does that mean? They were backdating them to when the person sent them. Get it in on time. That's just kissing up to incompetent, lazy people who don't even deserve to be allowed to vote. It's crazy. I don't trust the post office. They're a bunch of dumb liberals. Go to the post office and just think, Trump supporter or liberal? In general, you're going to get liberals, and some of them are going to be dishonest. What a mess. I'm going to get to this other story about Eric Coomer shortly here, but I got to get to Zack in Oregon. He wants to limit the First Amendment. Zack, how are you doing?
I'm doing all righty. How about yourself?
Fine. What's up?
So, essentially what I was thinking is, it's sort of just a limitation with just a sort of occupation. Like if you work for the government, where I was thinking of, governor, senate, you can't smack talk, the people you work with, because you work for the USA. So you can't say USA is a bad country, it's a horrible country, and then it's you work for the government, though. So I think that's why there should be some limitation, because you represent the United States.
Yeah.
You're bad mouthing it. So
interesting.
They should. Ilhan Omar is a good example.
Right.
Exactly what I was thinking. She's on duty and she's constantly saying these bad mouth things about America. It's should she just be like 3 strike? I'm pretty sure she's already done that.
Right.
Fired, get out of here,
Yeah, maybe so. That's an interesting point. And you know what? They have rules in the halls of Congress that you don't try to say something that might diminish somebody's character or defame somebody's character who's also a fellow senator or congressman or female congressman. And yes, you should, because these people are evil and you have to call them out. And I kind of get it. They want to keep civility, but no, these people are outright evil. You have to be allowed to call them what they are. Jesse Lee Peterson appeared up in Sacramento fighting against this law that is, I think it's law now. They got rid of money bail in the state of California, where you go to jail, you have to pay a certain amount of money and whatever the judge decides in order to get out of jail. Well, they're getting rid of that, where as long as the crime's not too bad, you can get out of jail free. And you just have to promise that you'll go to court. Well, the thing about bail is if you don't show up in court, then the bail bond comes after you. Bail bond people come after you because you promised you'd go back to court and also pay back the bail. Well, they're getting rid of that because, it discriminates against poor people, blacks and Hispanics. No, it helps protect those people because those are the ones who are the criminals, and then they're also the victims. There's black and Hispanic victims of crimes by other blacks and Hispanics, and now they're running the streets, not having to pay any bail, and threatening and intimidating witnesses and all kinds of madness going on. And Trump, so Jesse said, you guys don't care about black people. You do not respect black mothers or children. And they said, don't defame his character. He said that to this guy, Hertzberg, who wrote this law or co-authored it or sponsored it or whatever. This Hertzberg guy. And he's
Hertzberging a lot of people.
Yeah. And this dumb black guy who's in charge of this committee, this justice committee, criminal justice committee or whatever, said, stick to the points of the thing. No, it ad hominem is perfectly valid in these cases because these are evil people trying to push these evil laws, nonsensical laws. So I do support going after people's character in the government, definitely, because they have no character. But you're right. A lot of these people are
proof too.
A lot of these people are trashing America, and then they turn around and pretend that Trump is trashing America. Trump is trashing the trash who are running America. It's very different. Trump loves America.
Oh, yeah. It's Joe Biden that's killing America.
Yeah. I appreciate that, Zach. Interesting.
Yeah.
No Good to hear from you, man.
I like Colin.
All right. Take care. Man, let me get to Tony. He thinks it's time to admit Trump lost. Tony, what's up?
Good day, sir. How are you today?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm doing just wonderful, sir. Yes, it is time for Trump to call the U-Haul trucks and get his junk and his people out of the White House. And let's bring some prosperity. Let's bring some joy. Let's bring some graceful people that are going to make America what America's supposed to be.
That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous, Tony.
Not just white people, but all people joining together and saying, we are one, we are the world, we are the people of America.
Tony, you're a communist, useful idiot, and you're a joke.
See, there you go. There you go. See, why y'all always want to go to name calling? I mean, when you lose,
name calling for the truth. We haven't lost yet. We haven't lost.
Yeah, it's over. It's over, bro. It's over.
No, it's
not. I don't
not.
care what you do, what you say. We can give y'all a couple states if you want, and you still lose.
Nope. Wrong.
So the thing is, sir.
Yeah.
Why don't you go ahead and get on your knees and ask for forgiveness, like Jesse Lee Peterson say, and stop lying to these people that listen to you. Okay?
That's false.
Stop the lying,
Jesse
man.
Lee Peterson. Hold on, Tony. Hold on, Tony.
Yeah.
I got to correct the record. First of all, it's not over yet. Second of all, and it's not time. You don't define when it's time. Trump does. And third of all, Jesse Lee Peterson never says to ask for forgiveness. So you're a bad listener. You have no sense of reality.
Trump don't say when it's over.
Yes, he does.
January 20th get here, he's gone.
No, I don't know.
I don't know
about that.
Start a war. I don't care if he is trying to start a war so he can stay in office. That ain't gonna work either. That's not gonna work.
That's just a false accusation. You're just spreading rumors.
That's what he's trying to do.
Nope.
That's what he wants to do.
False.
He wants to start a war thing. He gonna stay in office.
You don't know what you're talking about,
bro. It's not happening. Go ahead and report the truth, my friend.
I love war now.
The truth. Report the truth
is,
you'll be better off.
The truth is, Trump is good for America, and Joe Biden is pure evil.
He don't even pay taxes in America. So how he
Joe Biden is pure evil.
Everything he's doing, he made China great. When he said make America great, he made China great with that trade war. He made them.
No,
so he's still getting
you don't know what you're talking about. You don't know what you're talking about.
Come on, man. See, there you go. You don't want me to speak the truth, but every time I come on
you don't speak the truth?
I'm going to tell the truth, my friend.
No, you don't.
Because he made China great.
And you're not my friend.
Why are we still buying stuff from China?
You're no friend.
Why are we still
You're no friend to anybody, Tony. You're no friend to anybody.
I know you don't want to answer that question. Even the
You're immature. You're very immature.
Even y'all shirts come from China.
You're very childish.
Come on, man.
Tony, you're acting very childish right now.
Come on, man. Come on, my friend. Tell the truth.
I know you're trying to be nice, but you're childish, you're immature, and you're a useful idiot for communism.
How you want to do it? Well, that's your version. That's your opinion.
It's the truth.
Got one.
It's a fact.
Everybody got one.
Jack.
Hey, everyone
don't
got
go
one
there.
Opinion. That's like you know what.
Nope.
Just like you know
I don't know what. I don't know what, and I don't want to know.
Oh, I know you don't, but you do know. But the thing is, man, hey.
You're silly.
Tony. Your president is about to go to jail. He's about to go to jail because New York is coming after him.
That's
yes,
silly.
Sir. How can I help you?
How do you people around you, aren't you a married father of some children?
Of course I am.
How do they see you being so silly like you are?
Okay, because they see the truth in me. They see the truth I speak.
Let me ask you about
propaganda like y'all do.
Let me ask you what I asked Earl.
Entertainment show.
Do you, Earl? I mean, Tony.
I'm not Earl, my friend.
Tony, do you like Jesse Lee Peterson's principles that he preaches every day?
Some of them I agree with, some of them I don't.
Like which one don't you? No, which one do you agree with? Which one do you agree with?
Never listen to a woman.
Then how come you're a Democrat?
Yeah,
that's all Democrats do is listen to women.
No, my friend.
Yes, it is.
Y'all put 6.
And which one don't you like?
In the Republican. So how you?
And which one don't you like? Which principle don't you like? Telling the truth.
You said that you're supposed to believe in the father and not the mother. That's bogus. You come from the.
You're talking out of both sides of your mouth, commie.
Okay, whatever, my friend.
You're just like those South African people who act like they're all nice, but then they say, we're not going to kill white people yet. You're sick.
And I ain't hear nobody kill no white people.
Oh, you haven't
look,
heard
man,
it because you don't listen to the real news.
Understand this. What goes
They're killing
around,
white people.
around. What goes around comes back around.
Listen
That's
to this.
not man law. That's God law.
Listen to that's a communist law.
What goes around comes back around.
You don't believe in God. You believe in killing white people.
That's
you believe
that's your opinion.
No,
that's
it's
your
the truth.
Opinion, and you can have that right.
It's a matter of fact.
To believe what you want to believe.
See, this guy is endorsing. You're validating. Hold on, Tony. Tony! Tony! I'm going to put you on hold. Okay. This guy is validating murdering white people. It's ridiculous.
I didn't say that.
Yeah, you didn't say it, but you said what goes around comes around. Same thing. You can't be. You can try to be slick, but you're not that slick.
So you agree what happened is all is coming back around. That's what you're saying. That's what you just said. You just validated.
You said it.
Validated.
You're validating murdering white people.
No, I ain't validating nothing, bro.
Yes, you are, bro.
I validate God's law.
You're just denying. You're just denying.
You reap what you sow. You reap what you sow.
You don't know what you're talking about, Tony.
That's it.
Tony, you're not going to do well in life validating the attacks on white people.
I'm telling the truth. The truth of the light.
No, you don't know anything about the truth. You think the election is over. It's ridiculous.
It's over.
Anyway, nice talking with you. Man. Nice talking with you, man.
Have a wonderful day. Stop lying all the time.
You too, commie. What a mess. Before I get back to calls, hang tight, Nick in South Carolina, Ramon in the Bay Area. I do want to get to you guys. Let me quickly cover this case of this evil. I think this is about the case of that evil person. Eric Coomer. I talked to you guys about him in Hake News at the end of hour 2 of the Jesse Lee Peterson show. This guy is an Antifa guy. And it's covered, it's well documented according to, screenshots of his Facebook that purports to be his Facebook. And he is a vice president or director. Well, let me let this guy, clip 12 of this whistleblower, Joe Oltmann, Oltmann, talking with Michelle Malkin, who is a conservative lady, been around forever, writer, been on Fox News, friendly with Jesse Lee Peterson. Last week, she interviewed him about this Dr. Chris Coomer guy of Dominion, who, according to his suspected Facebook page, hates President Trump, hates Trump's supporters, and hates Texas, by the way, and allegedly talked to Antifa and posted an Antifa manifesto. Coomer was I don't know if he still is, director/VP, according to Joe Oltmann of Security for Dominion. Listen to Joe Oltmann exposing this guy on Michelle Malkin, and then I'll talk a little bit more.
Can you just repeat to people what his position was with Dominion?
Actually, so his position, depending on where you go, is the vice president of security, vice president of strategy. Then through the election process over the last 12 months, it's gone to, now he's not the director now he's the director of strategy and security. Mm-hmm. But Michelle, what if I told you that he's actually a major shareholder? Yeah, he is.
Jaw drop, floor.
What if I told you that he owns the patents in other that are actually associated with other voting systems that are out there in the market now that are actually taking care of the state?
Crazy, huh? He is former VP, or is VP, a top engineer, a director for so-called security for this Dominion voter software. And according to Neon Nettle and this guy who is a whistleblower, he's signed an affidavit. He infiltrated this guy that you were just listening to, the guy, Joe Oltmann. He infiltrated Antifa, according to Neon Nettle, which is an outlet, written by Jay Greenberg on the 15th of November. Dominion engineer told Antifa, I have pictures of this Eric Coomer guy, that he'd make sure Trump wouldn't win, a report said. I got this from Revolver News. Vice President of U.S. Engineering and Security, actually, Eric Coomer, spelled how it sounds, Coomer, shared anti-Trump posts online. And the 13th, according to PT News Network, I think, breaking, does a former Dominion voter systems VP and current patent holder have ties to a terrorist group or idea known as Antifa? Director of Product Strategy and Security, Dominion Voting Systems. He entered the elections industry in 2005. He looks like he's my age, give or take. As chief software architect. This is the guy who is a PhD at Berkeley, right? In nuclear physics. Maybe he's smart in that stuff, but he's dumb as a doorknob politically and spiritually. Evil. Supports Antifa. Hates Trump. Joined Dominion as 2010. Before that, according to another report, before that, he was part of that other Smartmatic company that has also been named by Trump's lawyers as, I don't know if changing votes or what. He posted this rant in July of 2016, yeah, about Trump supporters. If you are planning to vote for that autocratic, narcissistic, fascist, A-word hat blowhard and his Christian jihadist VP pick, he's referring to, what's that guy? Mike Pence, the great Mike Pence. Unfriend me now. No, I am not joking. So he posted this ridiculous, according to, if it's the same Eric Coomer, I think it might be. Wouldn't be surprised. Look at him. He said, he goes on this long rant about unfriend me. And then he posted on June 2nd, it might have been of this year. I don't remember this happening, but Antifa posted some dumb manifesto, several pages or a few pages long manifesto, and he reposted the entire text of this manifesto on his Facebook post. And this manifesto is basically like this open letter to President Trump, but it's really to all media by Antifa. I thought they were not organized. And he put, in case you didn't know, Antifa has made a statement to all media, public statement from Antifa in response to the threats issued from United States President Donald Trump. Because Trump has called out Antifa and wants to call them a terrorist organization, which it hasn't happened because he has nobody with him in his cabinet. Antifa isn't an organization. There's no membership, no meetings, no dues, no rules, no leaders, no structure. It's literally an idea and nothing more. Sounds just like the commie Christopher Wray or Chad Wolf or whatever. They probably both said that. And they post all this madness. Antifa is anti-America. They're commies. Their rules are, don't be pro-Trump or we're going to hit you. We're going to try to kill you. Stop hurting them. Fix your broken systems. All this madness. Bunch of ridiculous stuff. And he reposted that allegedly on his Twitter. And this guy looked him up and found him. Exposed him. And that's a guy who majored in STEM. Got his degree from UC Berkeley, University of California in Berkeley. That's where Antifa attacks free speech activists, by the way. Antifa is pure evil, and this guy's siding with them, according to the reports, if that's true. I think it is. And by the way, speaking of Dominion, I told you yesterday or the day before that Dominion is in bed with the government. They're part of this council that is underneath the DHS, the Department of So-Called Homeland Security, which was founded, after 9/11 by George W. Bush to pretend to protect America. A bunch of dumb liberals work there. I mean, some of them may be honest, I don't know. But Trump says that he fired, according to the far-left publisher, Twitter, and NPR and other sleazy outlets, that Trump fired Krebs, Chris Krebs. I have a couple of pictures of this Chris Krebs guy, some headlines about him from the mainstream media. Cybersecurity chief, Chris Krebs. On Tuesday, the president tweeted that he terminated Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, CISA, Director Christopher Krebs. Trump said that Krebs gave a highly inaccurate statement about the security of the 2020 presidential election, Comes days after Krebs' department said there is no evidence that any voting system deleted or lost votes, changed votes, or was in any way compromised. But guess what? Guess who's on the council that put out that statement? Dominion. And so is Smartmatic. And you just heard about the guy, one of the top guys who owns shares in these companies and stuff. Owns a patent or two and owns patents and is director for security of these organizations. And in 2016, this guy allegedly, no, he said it. In 2016, this, the previous guy, the pro-Antifa guy, said that they can change votes in this system. He told the Illinois State Board of Elections that it was possible to bypass election systems software. And he said that they do not update their software to protect against voter fraud. Back in 2016, this Dr. Eric Coomer guy. And that was put out by the YouTube channel Defend the Vote. And they're pretending that this guy is honest and that he debunked them. And by the way, Canada, they count the votes by hand. They don't use this electronic stuff. And another quick thing that this Joe Oltmann guy found, this whistleblower, he kind of snuck into Antifa and exposed this guy. Yeah, they use paper ballots and scrutineers, they call them, in Canada. Canada, I heard that they have the population of California. It doesn't matter. We have enough population to count them and enough population to oversee them. Hopefully enough honest people to oversee it. But this guy, he also exposed this black weirdo, Jeremiah Elliott. He doxed him. You know, remember that guy who was picking a fight? I showed you him picking a fight at some Bernie rally in Denver, Colorado, getting tackled. This black guy who wore this Black Guns Matter t-shirt, and he seems to wear it at every rally. Jeremiah Elliott, a human resources supervisor at UPS, Greater Denver area. Armed security professional, Gen 1 Protection LLC. Store manager, upbeat, charismatic, hardworking, and experienced. This guy who got in a fight with some dumb Bernie bro, and then he was picking a fight with Trump supporters in Denver, Colorado, just instigating right before that guy got shot in the face and killed in Denver several weeks back. I don't remember when exactly it was, but it was a pro-police rally. Antifa and Black Lives Matter were doing a fake soup cookout or soup handout, whatever, soup can drive. They were throwing stuff at the Trump supporters, picking fights, and this guy was picking fights too. He pretends like he's pro-Second Amendment, but he's a disturbed person. And he found his information, this Joe Oltmann guy of Colorado, and his organization is FEC. Let me see if I can find it. Oh, we're opening the treasure chest. Hold on. Man, where was it? I'll find it for you guys. But he's a whistleblower. He signed an affidavit. What is it called? Hold on. I gotta find it. It's bugging me. FEC United, Faith, Education, Commerce founder, Joe Oltmann. So he seems like an honest person, I think. Anyway, got to open the treasure chest and get to calls. Nick in South Carolina wants to talk about the coronavirus madness. Nick, how's it going?
Doing well. Thank you, Hake. I appreciate it. How you doing?
Doing fine, too.
Terrific. I just want to ask, other than an Orwellian society, since when have individuals been sick until proven healthy? And also, how is it that elderly and unhealthy people get to call the shots about when I have to wear a mask or be able to go into a store or just be able to move freely amongst my
I know.
community?
And they're not even the ones calling the shots. They're just, the fake people who pretend to care about them are calling the shots on their behalf, saying, oh, we have to close down everything to protect these old people in the nursing homes and stuff. Since we've been like a female-minded liberal society. It's been, it's ridiculous. It doesn't make any sense. And it's the least, according to like these sleazy globalist people, it's the least deadly so-called pandemic in history.
Yeah, and I'm sure the globalists are definitely okay with China creating the virus and just creating all this madness, making President Trump, thankfully for Trump, if it wasn't for Trump, there would be no Republican Party today.
I know.
You know, I mean, and also Obama, you know, he helped because he was such a piece of
That's true.
POS, which I voted for, you know, Obama the first election, you know, and ever since then, you know, I went from kind of libertarian to now just Republican by default.
Yeah.
But it's a total scamdemic. I mean, obviously hospitals are making face COVID cases to get insurance reimbursements.
I wouldn't put it past them for sure.
Oh, it's a fact. It's been put in many forms and a lot of documents. And and when people say it's a conspiracy theory, that word, first of all, was created and coined by the CIA and Project Mockingbird to divert any idea that, you know, the government had something to do with his assassination. And you know, I think
is that from Kennedy, JFK's assassination?
Yes, sir. Yep.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. The CIA, because you know, there's chances the mafia and the CIA were part of it, so they just wanted to mute everyone and just say, oh, you know, you're a conspiracy theorist. You're trying to conspire with someone making up this information. So,
well, look at who's in charge of the CIA today, Gina Haspel, who is like I think she was an Obama person, and then she's still there to this day. Ridiculous. And the CIA are a bunch of liberals. They talk to Moby. They talked to Moby, the singer, the guy who, well, I don't know if he's should be considered a singer, but
like
the dance music
DJ,
guy,
techno guy,
yeah, the '90s dance music guy who his song shows up at the end of the Born Identity, Born Supremacy stuff. Mm-hmm. He said, "Oh, friends in the CIA contacted me to warn about this Russia stuff," you know, and like the mainstream media was paying all this attention. And the CIA, the so-called intelligence community, was paying all this attention to Russia with regard to Trump. Mm-hmm. Well, it might be that Russia and Venezuela and all of these commie countries and the communists here in America, Twitter, Facebook, Google, and the mainstream media, and the CIA and all these people, the DHS, this Chris Krebs guy, or is it Chris Krebs?
I believe so.
Yeah, these people are all of a sudden no interest in scrutinizing the election and the suspicious stuff regarding this fake election that we just went through.
And that's my one apprehension. That's my one apprehension about, or one of the many maybe. My one apprehension is the deep state. Like you said, the CIA, the deep state is not going to let this be overturned. I mean, even if there is 1 million votes, the deep state is not going to allow it. And I am kind of disappointed in President Trump right now because he's not getting out there and being vocal. I mean, he's on Twitter, I get it, but he's not out there. You know, he didn't talk to the MAGA Million March, marchees. You know, I know he drove by, but you know, he said he went golfing, which I love President Trump. You know, I mean,
that's his exercise. That's his only form of exercise is golf.
I understand, but you know, he could have gotten out and talked to people. I understand, you know, I get it, but he's not quite vocal. You know, everyone's saying, "Oh,
I don't know." I think he's fighting back. You might have your criticisms of how he's doing it or if he's doing it enough, but I think that he's fighting back, and I like how he's not conceding.
Me too.
So we'll see.
Too. That is a plus. That is a plus. Yeah, there's definitely, definitely a lot of ridiculous amount of voter fraud, and I hope it gets overturned. You know,
I hope so too. We'll see what happens.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Well,
good to hear from you, Nick.
Thank you, James. I appreciate it. You have a good one now, and God bless.
All right, you as well. Ramon, I'm sorry, and the rest of your callers, I cannot get to you. We got to end. We got to just start this music. Ghost Murdoch gave a diamond, said the lesser of two evils is a logical fallacy. Interesting, man. Very interesting. I voted for the DA, that black female DA who had been endorsed by some Democrats, because the guy who was endorsed by Black Lives Matter and George Soros and the some billionaires who were in charge of Netflix and his wife, they endorsed the other guy, George Gascon, but that guy won. I don't know, man, but I appreciate it. LL Cool Nate gave a diamond and said, Bush pick evidence, they're all the same. Yeah, that ridiculous one. Turtle No Neck says, I work at USPS, U.S. Postal Service. More of us voted for Trump than you think. Thank you, Turtle No Neck. I bet you there's also some dishonest people, though, there, right? Don't you think? Ragnar, but I appreciate that. That's cool. Ragnar0321 gave a diamond, said, thanks for the show, James. Thank you, man. Appreciate the support. And thank you, too, to Jib Jab and the rest of the supporters on streamlabs.com/The Hake Report. Remember, hopefully, the plan, Bond Sunday Service premiere, 2010, March 7th. How Do You See God? So that's the next one that's hopefully going to come out today. Should be well for putting out that Bond Sunday Service on the Bond Rebuilding the Man YouTube channel. You can subscribe to the audio podcast as well. TheHakeReport.com for my stuff. JesseLeePeterson.com for Jesse's stuff. RebuildingTheMan.com/church for the church-related stuff. Thanks, guys. Take care.